Hey, what's up, man? This is from my buddy Greg. Look at this big old ugly piece. So much better, isn't it? Filming like this instead of a GoPro. I got it on zoom so you can see what's going on. It's a big old thick chunk. It's got quite a bit of cortex on it. So let's start out by taking my abrader here and not over abrading. Any razor sharp areas like this, we want to I'm gonna abrade these edges a little bit. So one of the things that we need to understand when we're looking at this is you can see how thick this is right here. This edge going up this way. So one of the things that we're going to need to do to flatten this out, I kind of like to call this climbing the hill. We're going to build some platforms. So we're going to work our way up from this bottom edge going up, and this camera is upside down, by the way, so hopefully you can understand this. We're going to work this edge going up. Okay, that's how we do that. And because when you're looking at this piece here, you can see that we've got a nice, relatively straight piece, and that's our center line right here. Anything that's on this side, it's below the center line. Anything that's on this side is above the center line. So it's important that if we want to take a flake off, that the flake is above this center line and vice versa. All right. So I've got my little homemade pad here, and I've got my my deer tine. This is what I use for my little hammer. So I'm going to hold this on this pad. Let's see if I can try to get everything into this video here. So I'm going to work along this edge right here. All right. And I'm going to pressure flake some of this stuff down. Just like so. I'm going to go down along this edge and pressure flake down. It's a pretty thick piece, so we're going to have to really work our way up. After you kind of work along this edge, and you can see where you've been pressure flaking all this right here, we're going to want to abrade. No, you don't need to over braid. And you know what? Like if I'm taking flakes off up this way, I'm going to abrade going down. I never take flakes off the same way that I'm abrading. Like if I'm abrading down, I'm going to take flakes off going that way. If I flip this over and I'm abrading up, then I'm going to take flakes off going the other way. That's just how I like to do it. So now you can see that you've got this sharp edge off. So we'll go back. And I don't want this to be a really long, crazy video. I just want to kind of show you some basics here. So you can see how we're climbing this hill right here. We're working our way up to the top because we want to try to get a nice flat surface and build platforms so we can start taking this cortex off the top right here. All right. All right. So let's continue. I'm going to take some of this stuff off right here. And on the other side, you can see how we've got a big piece missing here. We've got a bunch of cortex. I'm going to work on getting this cortex right here off. So we're going to start climbing up the hill. I'm going to flip this dude over just like so. And I'm going to start taking off some of this right here, going down. This cortex really thick back here, by the way. So what we're doing here, like I said, we're trying to create some platforms. I don't think I'm ready for that other side yet, so I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to continue to climb up this side. So we're getting there. As you can still see that we've been working along this edge, but this cortex is still pretty far above. See how we've got a curve in it here? That's okay. We want to try to get this up here so we can have a flatter area to knock this cortex off, because right now if we try to blow flakes off going up this way, they're going to stop right here in this cortex. It's not going to look very good. And this is definitely a very challenging little piece. This is not an easy piece to work with because it's not a good preform. This is just a big old hunk of crap that was laying in a tote that we're going to use for a practice piece. It's pretty thick. It's going to take some patience to work with this and get this knocked down. We're getting there. We've almost got that edge worked up to that cortex. See there? We're getting it. So, we'll go a little more. And I like to kind of like squeeze my legs together here a little bit. So I'm going to turn this dude over right here. See this? We've worked that edge up pretty far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this piece upside down. And now I'm going to try to take off some of this cortex. And I've got my big stick with a nice rounded tip. And what I like to do, I'll show you here. I like to put this under my knee, just like so. And see how I have raised that whole edge to build it up closer to the top to knock some of this cortex off. So what I'm going to do is I will start taking this cortex off. See, there's a little platform right there. So I will put it right on that edge right there, and I will push in on the edge of this right here. Set this on. You can see it from a different angle. And we're going to try to bang some of this stuff off right here. All right. You see that right here? See how we took this off? Knocking off some of this cortex. So our center line, as you can see, is from the tip of this to the center. So all of this right here is way above the center line. And now that we've moved that ridge up, if we've created some platforms through here, we can knock off some of this cortex. That's what we're working on here. And when you want to make sure that you kind of push this point into this copper tip. Make sure you're supporting your point good. Now when you knock that cortex off, you can come back through here and kind of abrade some of this. So see here? See how we're knocking that cortex off? So now what I'm going to do is I got a little platform right here. I'm going to try to work on taking some of this cortex off. I got a little platform right there. See that ridge? I'm going to follow that ridge. Now when you get down to the tip, you want to be careful so you don't blow that tip off. And firmly hold the tip. Firmly hold the point. And just get right on that edge. So see how we're getting that cortex off there? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pressure flake. I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to pressure flake this edge going down. Because what we're going to do, again, see this fat base right here? A lot of people is like, well, I'm going to start working on taking this bottom off. Well, you can straighten this point out, believe it or not, by working on taking some of this top off. See how fat it is at the back? So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to start pressure flaking some of this stuff off right here. And create some more platforms. Okay. So now, I'll go back over here, put the stick under my leg, under my knee. And you don't have to do this, it's to each his own, whatever feels good. We'll go back to here. And we'll blow some more big stuff off right here. Right on the edge. kind to braid. Don't over braid. Just get the burrs off of it. And you can see right here, see how we've got this platform right here? That's what we're going to take off right there. And when you can change the angle on this to determine how it flakes too. It's just something you'll eventually get the feel of. All right. And so these flakes almost been going all the way across the whole piece. So you can see how we've knocked a lot of cortex off that other side. So now look, when we turn this back over, see how this is starting to straighten out? You're like, oh man, that had a real fat base. I thought I had to work on the bottom. So we can still take some more off of that. So when you get to the base and it's real chunky and thick like this, we're going to flip this over like this. And I'm going to start pressure flaking down. All right. And then when we do that, we'll create platforms to blow this bottom off right here. So right now, we really don't have any platforms. We got some cortex we got to get off. So we're going to start pressure flaking to the left. And this cortex is really nasty on the end. And it's not easy to get off. You have to really like blow this stuff off or really get into it hard. I mean, it's like pressure flaking chalk. So since it's all cortex right here, I'm going to go here at this edge and I'm going to try to pressure flake where this cortex meets this nice looking flint here. Well, it's just a big old hunk of crap right there. I'm still going to try to work into that. Get some of that stuff off there. Just a big old hunk of cortex. Sometimes you just got to smack that stuff off there if you can't pressure flake it off. There we go. As long as you're supporting that point good, you can really put a lot of pressure into that stuff. Okay. That's where we're at. So you can see I've been pressure flaking, getting some of that cortex off. So now, if you look at this point from the side, you can still see it's a pretty fat base, right? So I'm going to start climbing this hill, going up, pressure flaking down to build some platforms to blow flakes up. But as you can see, the back of this is much lower than the peak of this hill. So that's why we need to climb this hill right here to the left and build platforms. So I'm going to start pressure flaking down on this backside, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get to that stage. So, see how I've been pressure flaking down? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and as you can see, I've got a little platform right there. So I'm going to... Now, when you're striking the base of a point, there's a very, very good chance that when you hit the base of a point going down, you're going to take this tip and you're going to blow it off. You're going to break it and snap it in half. Because when you hit that base, all that energy is going to that point. So there's a trade secret here. All right. If you want to strike down on the base of a point, you want to take that tip and put it in the palm of your hand. Okay. And you want to press the point inward like it's stabbing you. Very firmly keep the point in the palm of your hand, and I like to pinch the sides just like this. All right. Now I'll take this stick, and it's going to take some practice, because man, I was blowing off point after point, breaking point after point, because I was holding it like this, I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong until like a master napper taught me this trick. So put that point in here just like so, right in the tip, right in the palm of your hand, pinch these sides. I'm going to put this copper point right here, just right on the edge. Whack that dude going down just like that. It's got a platform there, hit it again. There's still a little platform there, hit it again. As long as you have a platform, you're good. All right. So you can see we took some flakes off, but if you turn this point sideways, see how that base, it's still kind of fat. So we're still, again, we're gonna climb this. We're gonna climb this hill a little bit. We're gonna pressure flake down by turning this point over right here. I'm gonna start pressure flaking down. Some more platforms so we can do that again. That's how you take care of these ugly looking thick bases. So we're gonna turn this dude over. Okay. Come through here. We'll braid this a little bit. And now, see that? See how we were climbing that hill and we were pressure flaking downward, and it through these flakes going up. So now what I'm going to do, we've got some platforms here. Right here on the end. So you can see this platform right here in the middle, that little point, it's below the center line on the back of this. It's going down. So I'm going to take this low platform, the one this one in the middle, this low one, I'm going to take it down. All right. Remember, put that point in there just like that, palm of your hand, or in the center. Pinch the sides. Make sure you firmly keep pressure on it. Get that angle. You can play with this angle just a little bit right here. Let's see what happened here. See how we thinning that base out. So we can still take off some more here and here, going down. Okay. See how we took that whole bottom off? See, it's starting to get thinner. So now this base is fat at the top. So we're going to climb this hill and take off this bottom lip. And we're going to work ourselves up this hill and create some platforms and flip it over and take this top off. Alright. So we're climbing this hill on this bottom side that we just took off. Trying to keep a nice straight line here. Alright, now see how much lower it is? Because when you flip it over, remember we were climbing that hill in the back? And then when you flip it over, you can see how we've got a lip at the bottom. And see how fat it is at the bottom right there? Right there? See how fat it is? Now we got that platform at the bottom. Now we can go down because we created that platform. Take off some of that base and get it even thinner, because it's going to be too hard to hack this and use it as a knife or a point with that fat base. Alright, so remember, put that tip in there and squeeze the edges. And don't take off too much, because you can still blow that point off by supporting it even right. Knock off a little bit of a few little burrs if you have to. Okay. All right, so see how we took off some of that base by blowing it down. See there? See how we took all this off right here, running those flakes down. So now you can see it's getting thinner. So we're going to repeat this process. We've still got to take off some of this bottom right here, down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna climb this hill just a little bit back here and give me some more platforms, because now it's straight. We don't have any platforms. All right. I'll do a little pressure flaking. And you can use your deer tine. You don't have to use these copper pressure flakers. You can use, that's what they used, was a deer tine. Actually, bone, it bites a lot better, actually. Yeah, you can do the same thing. I mean, it's just kind of, whatever you prefer. All right. As long as you got that tip supported in your palm, you can whack the living you-know-what out of it. All right. So now I'm going to start pressure flaking the other way and create some platforms. This base is starting to look pretty dang nice. That'll look pretty dang nice. Flip this over a little bit, actually. Okay. Put that point in there and support this edge real good. Oh yeah. Good. Climb this hill a little bit. Get some more platforms. I'm real close to being happy with it. You take your time. And it's okay if you break it and you make mistakes. And if life was perfect and we didn't make any mistakes, we'd never learn nothing. So, with every broken point, with every piece